Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and this week we're talking about making an OC6 move faster and understanding the role of every seat in the boat. Some of these ideas may seem like no-brainers, like, well, duh, that's what that seat does, and the overall idea that we're trying to achieve with an OC6 with its overall speed, but this is a big eye-opener for a lot of paddlers. Many paddlers, when they get into a team boat, they don't think about the bigger picture or what their influence is on the canoe itself. They just go through a motion. I'm taught to do this, this, and this, and as I do that, I do it in rhythm with the people around me, and things just occur because of that. And so having this base level of understanding with your movement is an important aspect of moving a canoe, but having a feel, an inherent understanding of what your role is in this can help elevate your crew from a novice crew to something that is more intermediate or all the way to the world level. So the overall goal is to make the canoe move faster, right? We are trying to get more glide from the motion that we go through. The stronger your crew and the more cohesively they can interact with each other, the more glide that you are going to create. When you use your paddle to interact with the water, there is a level of force and propulsion that you create as an individual multiplied by the people around you. This is giving you your overall speed. So the first thing is the stronger that each paddler is in each of the seats is going to dictate how fast the canoe moves. Now, when I say stronger, I don't mean who can do the most pull-ups or how many push-ups can I do. We're talking about how strong you are as a paddler. How good are the leverages you can create? What is your positive blade angle? How well do you use your hips and your legs? And how fluid and dynamic is your motion? How good is your cardio? These are the things that make you a strong paddler, not your inherent or perceived strength off of the water. So whenever you want to move a boat more effectively or be more valuable to your crew, your individual progress is influence on a team's speed and increase your influence on the boat's glide. Now let's go through each seat, some of the responsibilities, and what you're responsible for in the team cohesive aspect. Seat 1 is physically going through the tempo. Now, as we talked about in the last video, we want a stroke rate or a tempo or a stroke movement that matches what the team is inherently good at. If the crew is good at very long and strong, powerful strokes, and I'm in seat 1 going 100 strokes per minute, everybody behind me is not able to really showcase their overall ability because that's just not the way that they paddle. And this could be the same in the opposite direction. If everybody wants a nice, quick, fast stroke rate and seat 1's in the front going 35 strokes a minute and trying to paddle incredibly slow, the people behind them are ready to go through the motion faster, and we're not accentuating the team's potential. So should I paddle faster or slower? This is always a moving target based on the type of canoe that you're in, the environment that you're paddling in, the overall skill level of the team that you're with, the duration that you're paddling, being in seat 1 and being flexible and understanding and feeling what you need to do to make sure that the people behind you are putting forth their best effort. And this is tricky because you have to feel the glide and responsiveness of the boat. If you feel the glide of the boat diminish, you can now make adjustments to try and reclaim that. If you're in seat 1 and you have no concept, are we going fast? Are we going slow? If you don't have a feel for your environment around you, you can't make any adjustments to try and accentuate again how much potential your crew has behind you. So moving on to seat number 2, in a lot of scenarios, and as I run my club, I like seat 2 being the true dictator of the overall stroke rate. Seat 1 physically goes through the motion, but seat 2 allows them an opportunity to look at it, assess it, and determine should we go up or down in the stroke rate. So it gives you like a second opinion on what the stroke rate should be. When we're thinking about the rate and trying to physically do it, sometimes there is a small disconnect between the goal and what we're physically doing. And having the checks and balance of somebody watching a stroke rate, copying it, and then making the assessment of it being too high or too low is a fundamental role that is very valuable in a team canoe. You just want to make sure before you get on the water that we understand that seat 2 is going to have this responsibility. If it is not decided and we decide that seat 1 is going to be in full control, any talking from seat 2 is now going to be perceived as a negative. But if we lock on that seat 2 is the primary person that is going through and identifying the stroke rate, then it makes it much easier to absorb that information. The other important role of seat 2 is making sure that the other half of the canoe that is paddling on the opposite side is now in synchronization. So when seat 1 is paddling on the left and seat 2 is paddling on the right, it is very important to make sure that those strokes are very in tune with each other. That way the entire canoe is paddling together. If seat 2 is off, now seat 4 is off, and half of your crew is going to be out of synchronization. So having this blend and making sure everybody's paddling together starts at seat 2, making sure that that diagonal there is working together properly. Seat 3 is calling the hut. This is very similar to seat 1 in trying to figure out where is your crew most effective with calling huts. The higher the skill level of a crew, the faster their switches, and the more often you can call it without any penalty. But if you have a novice crew, when they switch, you essentially miss a stroke across the entire canoe or various parts of the canoe. So there are times where it is advantageous to go to 15 or 20 strokes per minute to try and keep that switch number low and keep the stroke cohesiveness higher. But with a high level crew, if you make them do 15 or 20 reps, that's a lot of strain on your muscular system when you can just switch at 10 or 12 and make that adjustment back and forth much more smoothly. And it's up to seat 3 to kind of feel the canoe, right? If you're calling huts on 9 every time and you feel a dramatic drop, it's okay to let the boat run for a little bit longer before calling those switches. And so there's a lot of variation that seat 3 has, and again, based on feel and understanding what your crew is good at and feeling the environment that you're in gives you this opportunity to call the switches as necessary. As we move to the back half of the canoe, some of the roles become less important in a technical sense. So starting with seat 4, now you are not in control of the tempo or the switch calling or the synchronization. It's much easier to watch a blade that is directly in front of you and paddle with it. But as you move further back into the canoe, the water that is coming off the side of the boat from the glide is increasing in speed. So as you take strokes in seat 4, it is harder to grab that water comparatively to being in seat 1 where the water is almost standing still. As you get further back into the canoe, it is important to be more and more technical of a racer. When we are going through paddle strokes, it's easy to grab water that's not moving fast. But if you're in a very fast canoe and fast moving water, as you take these strokes, it is hard to grab that water, stabilize it, and propel the canoe forward. So your bigger, stronger paddlers usually end up in this seat here in order to try and maximize their connection with the water. So it is an important role in order to sustain the boat glide. If you have competent paddlers in the back of your boat, they are able to stabilize and keep the boat very rhythmic and keep that glide consistent no matter what kind of conditions that you're in. If your seat 4 is unable to grab that water, you will feel your canoe jump in speed and drop in speed and up and down. If they are very strong, they are able to again hold that glide. Seat 5 is really similar, but now you get to be like the assistant point guard, where you are in a position where you can actually help seat 6 with certain maneuvers. If they need additional draw strokes, if they need you to help poke to make really sharp turns, whatever it is, having the skill set of a seat 4, but the understanding of how to steer makes you an invaluable seat 5. For myself personally, here in Florida, we have a lot of races that are considered flat water races. Even if we have a swell size of a meter, the seat 6 is able to control the boat on their own. And so having a seat 5 help is a little bit of overkill. So essentially it's just another seat 4. The further back they are, the harder it is to grab the water, the more technical it is. And it's just something to keep in mind that you want some of your strongest paddlers in seat 5. I myself personally like a canoe with a lighter tail. I am a lighter size paddler. I like seat 5 to be one of my other lighter paddlers because it makes some of the steering easier for the way that I steer personally with a lighter tail, right? So I usually like somebody that's strong, compact, and powerful in seat 5 if given the opportunity. I usually don't like a really heavy seat 5 because it makes the canoe just a little bit harder to maneuver. And so you have to poke in situations where when you have a light paddler, you can now take some draw strokes and help contribute to the boat speed a little bit more. So moving on to seat 6. Seat 6 has the biggest influence for a singular seat to the canoe's glide. The biggest factor in the canoe's glide is how well seats 1 through 5 are working together and their overall paddling skill level. This is going to give you a base level of glide and speed. And then it is up to seat 6 to elevate that, or they're in a position to diminish that. So the reason for this is you have an opportunity to take paddle strokes and increase the boat speed. But you also have an opportunity to do something that no other seat can do, which is actively slow the canoe. Every time that you poke and drag your blade into the water, you are actively taking the glide away from the team that is in front of you. And so you have to balance the steering, keeping the canoe running straight, contributing to the boat speed, and minimizing how much you are actively slowing it. It's funny to think it is better to sit in seat 6 with your paddle in your lap if the boat is going straight than to stick the blade into the water and slow the crew. Doing something that is a neutral benefit is superior to actively slowing the canoe. And for myself personally, I love seat 6 because I love the responsibility and the challenge of taking a crew's skill level and elevating it the most that I can, right? By being a good steersman, you can make a novice crew perform at the level of an elite crew just by accentuating the glide that they're already creating. As long as they're working together in a cohesive way 1 through 5, you can elevate that skill dynamic very high if you are a skilled steersman. So that's the breakdown of every seat 1 through 6. Is there anything that I missed? If I did, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com today. We have a OC6 paddling series that is on the website. This series is designed for people that are coaching within their club dynamic to have a resource and an additional learning material to try and push forward to their club members. It goes over some of the differences from paddling in a 6 versus paddling in a 1 and identifying these things and trying to focus on them, and again, focusing on the team dynamic. A big thank you to all of our YouTube members, and their names are going to appear here. It is $2.99 a month to sign up for the YouTube membership, and it gives you access to these videos almost a full month early. It is only a small perk to see these videos a little bit before their scheduled release, but your YouTube membership helps this channel grow on a very big scale. So again, thank you so much to all of our YouTube members. If you would like to come to Lake Hernando and learn to paddle, if you'd like to learn to steer in OC6, or if you would like me to come to your area and teach a small group clinic or teach your crews how to steer a little bit better, feel free to reach out via email found in the description below. Thank you all so much for the ongoing support, and we will see you all next week for the next paddle tip video.